Hi everybody, I'm here with my dogs. You can see Peppercorn standing up and there's Nutmeg in the background. And yes, hello. Yes, I'm talking to my intercultural communication class. What have you been doing? Oh, now Nutmeg is waking up as well. These two pooches have been on squirrel duty for the past week or so because a family of squirrels decided it would be a good idea to set up shop in a tree in the backyard. So this is a big problem for dogs, but it's been very entertaining for me. I hope you have found a nice, cozy, comfy place to hunker down during this second week of spring break. As you can see, I'm in my kitchen and I am wrapped in a blanket that I knit myself. I did go ahead and put on a bow tie, but I'm also wearing sweatpants. And so not everything is bad about teaching and learning online. And I hope that you feel that way as well as we move into this brave new world together. I've shared a little bit of information with you already through Blackboard announcements and email in the past week about what the class will look like. But I have a little bit more to share with you now, and so here is a video of me sharing that with you. So there's a new class schedule, and instead of a seated class Monday, Wednesday, Friday, in the online world we use weekly units. And so every new weekly unit will start on a Monday, and it'll run all the way through the week and end on Sunday at midnight. When you log on and take a look at the schedule, you'll see a short to-do list for each week. Instead of meeting in person and discussing the chapter face-to-face, you will instead read the chapter and then have a Blackboard discussion board to discuss the chapter that way. There'll be a total of 3 posts per discussion board for most of the discussion boards, unless there is a spring holiday or something like that to shorten the week. You'll have your initial post, kind of your conversation starter post, due on a Wednesday, and then your 2 following posts will be due at the end of the unit, which will always be a Sunday at midnight. So your first post Wednesday, and then your reply posts to your classmates are due on Sunday. There'll be more details and instructions on Blackboard in the discussion boards themselves, but my vision is you do your initial post and then you can use your second post to respond to someone else's post, and then your third post can be responding to yet another person, or you can respond to someone who responded to your initial post, or have some back and forth based on your second post, or whatever the case may be. In addition, for each discussion board, there will be a variety of options that you can choose from as far as prompts that I will put on the discussion boards, because there's a lot of material to cover in the chapters, and some of the material you will find interesting, and so I want you to be able to kind of respond to the parts of the chapters you find most interesting, but also be exposed to the parts of the chapters that your peers found interesting as well. So in addition to that, we had 2 assignments kind of on our plate as we go into the second half of the semester for intercultural communication. The first assignment is the theory paper and presentation, which we were in the middle of when spring break hit. And then the other assignment is the cultural experience. I need to get some information from you guys about both of those, and the way that I'll try to gather that information from you is through a survey. I'm going to create a Google Forms survey and send it out, and it's going to ask you some really important questions that I am excited to gather that information so I can kind of finalize the plans of what the semester will look like. For the theory presentation, I already have the theory papers from you, and I already have presentations from a lot of you. For those of you who still need to deliver that presentation about your theory, we'll need to do that through video. And so I will give you a number of options that you can use to create your video, and you're free to choose whichever option you're most comfortable with. If you know how to create a YouTube video, for example, you can just create a YouTube video and throw it online. You can make it unlisted so that only people who have the link can watch it and send me the link. Or you can create a video and put it on Google Drive and share with me the Google Drive link. There's a lot of ways you can do it. But there will also be a peer feedback element of this. So those videos will be shared with your classmates. And so kind of still working out the details of that. But I want the video version of this assignment to be as equivalent as possible to the face-to-face version so that everyone is kind of doing the same thing. Once we get that out of the way, we do have the cultural experience assignment. This is a 2-part assignment, and it's a paper. The first part is the thick description that we've talked about in class, and the second part is the analysis. The thick description is where you describe the setting or the experience that you've had, and you try to describe it the way an outsider would describe it, someone who doesn't necessarily understand what they're seeing, but just sees it and experiences it. And then the second part is the analysis, where you talk about what the things you saw and experienced mean. A lot of you have already conducted your observations, and you have like the data that you need, or you have like a memory of the experience where you can kind of sit down and write that thick description. But some of you had selected experiences that were going to happen in the future, but now are maybe canceled because of coronavirus. For example, some of you I know were planning to take trips to other countries overseas, and you were going to kind of piggyback this assignment onto that trip, which was a good idea. And so for those of you who do need to like retool, I'm going to be super flexible, and you can pick a different experience, and we still have time to get that all figured out. Plenty of time. Some options that come to my mind when I think about kind of alternatives that you can use for those of you who need to pick a new experience. When I was facilitating this assignment in a past year, there was a student who elected to go to a museum exhibit. Actually, it was an exhibit that was like happening in the Meyer Library, and it was like an art exhibit, but it was culturally relevant because it was focusing on the art of a Native American tribe. And so from that, it sparks an idea in my mind of, there are a lot of museums all over the country that have digital or otherwise interactive exhibits, and a lot of those museum exhibits have cultural relevance. So what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of cultural experiences that you can have that way remotely, digitally, and you might look into those. There's also a lot of documentaries and foreign films or films that focus on intercultural issues. My wife and I are going to watch The Farewell. Here, it's on our quarantine to-do list over the next couple of days, and so. Just if you need to pick a different topic, brainstorm things like that and pitch them to me. And as long as you can argue that there's cultural relevance there, and that you can describe it and then you can analyze it, then we can do that. So anyway, in the digital survey, I will ask you what your experience is. And I need everyone to respond to that question, even if you're not changing course, even if you're still doing the same experience that you had planned from the beginning. Let me know that. I'll ask you a question about whether you've conducted the quote unquote observation yet or not. So in that way, once I get the survey from everyone, I'll be able to have an updated list on what everyone's doing, and we'll be able to go forward from there. You'll see that the deadlines have been pushed back a little bit because of spring break being extended. Part 1 of that paper, the thick description, will be due, and then I will have a week or so to give you some comments on it and some feedback on it. And the expectation is that you revise your thick description based on my comments and feedback, but also the comments and feedback that I give you will also be intended to provide you guidance for what I would like you to focus on in your analysis. I'm hands off a little bit because I know you have ideas for what you want to focus on in your analysis, but I also have my reading of your thick description will spark big questions in my head that I feel like will need to be addressed as well in the analysis. So turn in the first part first, and then when we get to the deadline for the second part, the analysis, I'm actually going to ask you to turn the whole thing in together, all in one document, the revised first part, thick description, in the same document with the analysis, which I will be seeing from you for the first time when you submit that document. Anyway, as I review, I said 3 things. First thing is there's a new schedule that has a lot of discussion boards in it, along with the chapter readings and the projects. Number 2, there will be a survey that's sent out that I'd like everyone to respond to in order to make sure we're all on the same page. And then 3rd, some details of what the projects will look like. Like I said, tried to streamline everything and tried to present it in a way that is as uncomplicated as possible. But I want you to know that I'm here for you and enthusiastic about working with each of you on a case-by-case individual basis. Do not hesitate at all to send me an email with any questions or clarifications you may have whatsoever. And you know, I'll be sending you maybe a few videos, but I'm going to be doing a lot of my teaching and interacting with you through writing and especially through the discussion boards. So please do your best to be as present as possible. In an online class, it's easy to feel like you're floating off in space and isolated. So the way that we combat that is engagement and writing specific things to the specific people you're responding to, and that can go a long way. Anyway, have a good rest of your spring break. Remember, we come back on the 30th, and we signed up for this class in the first place to study intercultural communication content and concepts and learn skills. And that is what we're going to do as we move forward into the second part of the semester. I look forward to it. I do miss you guys. And so I'm excited to get back and be interacting with you, even if it is digitally. Thanks.